just sitting here saying, you know what I mean, little memoir to Sam, my nigga, and being like, oh, let me think about the complexities of life and all that. What do I do? I don't play in a video game. Isn't really the like the best thing to do, or if not like best thing, like it's like it's just not. I don't know, bro. I feel like most of the time, right? People use things like Twitch or like other social media platforms to like, you know what I'm saying, try to establish a connection with motherfuckers through shared or similar interests or whatever, right? And I think what I'm doing here, I don't know if it's like, if it really makes sense, because I don't really, like, it's like, bro, it's like, I think this is more of a like let's have fun platform, right? And most things I think in this life are kind of like that, right? Like it's not as, think it's so deeply about everything is a very easy way to spiral or to just be on some fake deep shit and then be like, wow, look how deep everything is. And it's like, nigga, it's not that deep. Just for the sake of like some fake complexity and all that shit. But like, I don't even know. That's what? Like I don't even know, bro, what kind of like streamer I want to be. Because like, I think I probably think too much about what to stream. Like, it's super simple to just play a game, talk some shit, listen to some music, or like read some anime. Just do things that I would normally do if I'm just like vibing. You know what I mean?
What do you expect to happen to you? That's the thing right there.
But how is that compelling content? You know what I mean? Like, is it just like, is that
Literally,
just
that's how I was just
not
hitting
even
the screen.
relevant? It's just, nigga, is this fun? You know what I'm saying? Should it just be that? Is this fun? Does this make a nigga happy? Does it make other people happy? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think that's probably a simpler thought and probably a more productive thought, to be real too. You know what I mean? At least as far as like streaming something at all, or something that is like, you know, for sure, you know, gonna do well and connect with people. Cause like that's the thing, right? You're trying to, like I was saying earlier, it's like it's a platform to connect with people, and not necessarily with like concepts or ideas. So like, bro, like I don't know, I'd be getting lost in like the thoughts of, you know, what makes sense to do or stream or be, because it's like, you know, at some point I could be doing this in front of an audience, or I could just be chilling, doing it like, you know what I mean, myself at the crib, like I'd be doing anyways, you know what I mean? Or even times where I'm spending like streaming, it's like, nigga, go out and like touch grass type shit, you know what I mean? Like I could be outside and just leave this to leisure, or use my leisure and stream my leisure, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, not all leisure could be streamed. I'm not trying to be no IRL streamer type shit. Like, my life ain't that interesting to be like that. I mean, it could be, but like it's just not right now. And then I'm not trying to like, that's a lot of access niggas have to you, like, in your life, my nigga. If you're an IRL streamer, like them niggas just be like, niggas all in their whole shit. So, you know, this is obviously one of those things where it's like, you know what I'm saying? keep it simple, stupid. Why you think it's so hard, nigga? Just vibe, twin. Like, you know what I'm saying? And maybe that, in a way, is what allows people to be, you know, move forward, right? And moving forward, or having some sort of goal and accomplishing that is just more important than, you know, being like, oh, what did I do to help the world, or how did I, if not even the world, how did the disease I present do anything meaningful or whatever, right? Whatever it might be. No, bro. If 1/3 of teenagers are using ChatGPT, and I would imagine that Twitch is probably a platform where there's adults on there for sure, like 20-somethings, whatever, who are on there now. And as it gets more, like, as it's gotten, I should say, more and more mainstream and shit, there's probably way more people who are like on this shit, who are like older. I would say most of the time it's probably like teenagers to 20-somethings, you know what I'm saying? Like teenagers to college, even like kids too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, do we have a responsibility to think about what we're streaming, what the impact is? Or is it just our responsibility to be as human as possible? You know what I mean? And be like, all right, well, I was just being a human online. Like, nigga, it's not my responsibility that these little kids, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like between the responsibility of like the consumer and then like the producer. You know what I mean? Because there's you know, there's some kind of unspoken truth there where it's like, or trust, I should say, unspoken trust there where it's like, you maybe don't assume everything you're like the producer of the content or the whatever the medium is like necessarily being always truthful and everything, because it might be presenting like something that's like not non-fiction, right? It might be a fictional medium, or like they might be creating drama or some shit just for the sake of viewer engagement, right? But there's kind of like there's like a trust there that like they're not necessarily doing something malicious, you know what I mean? Like they're not showing me some content to like fucking brainwash me or some shit, you know what I mean? Even if they might, right? Like, especially if it's for entertainment, right? The problem is, it's like, is it all entertainment? And if it is just entertainment, you know, then is it like, oh, it's not that serious, and then it's subject to just like, since it's subject to misinterpretation due to the nature of it just being entertainment and not just like a non-fiction reading of like empirical evidence or like, I guess just like of current events and facts, right? It's like, what do we do? Like, what do we expect from the media that we consume? And most of it's just vibe twin, right? So like, what the fuck am I talking about? Kinda, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. It's a trip to think of how most of the time it's just not that serious, but it's not that serious is probably the reasons why things get so weird. You know what I mean? Because it's like saying it's not that serious is an easy way to just not to diminish the like impact or like severity of something too. Because it's just like, oh, it's not that serious. You're overreacting. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's just not that serious, my nigga. Like, it's kind of that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, I think being that serious at all times doesn't make for a fun life. It probably makes for a fulfilling, engaging life type shit. but I don't know if it really like makes life more enjoyable. And it's like, is that just the main thing? Like, we understand life is gonna suck at some point, you know what I mean, because of whatever reasons. So we just should find things that we find joy in, and not try to think too hard about the shit that is kind of bad because it'll make it. But then it's like, you know, you're kind of enabling it. It can feel like it if you're just like someone who isn't speaking about it and isn't, you know. But like, there's only so much you could do, right? Like, as much as there's only so much you could do, it's like you wouldn't do nothing at all but just vibe twin, right? Like, but is that even my responsibility, my nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it you just putting all this shit on your shoulders? Or is it on some, like, you know better, so you should do better, inform the people? Not to say, like, I know better. But, like, you know what I mean? Once a creator or someone. Because, like, they realize that they have influence. I don't think I have, like, nigga, I don't have any followers type shit on here. And if I do, or the ones I do aren't, like, always on my dick, like, looking to me for a piece of advice or, you know what I mean? To, like, tell them about how to live or anything like that. And then in some ways it's like, well, you shouldn't even look for someone online like just like an entertainer for all that information, you know. Maybe you should look for like the doctors and the like people of a serious profession and not that. But like, my nigga, we be looking at entertainers like they're also, you know, I just referenced Dave Chappelle because they be saying some shit that's kind of profound, right? Like, that nigga saying being the first nigga doing something is something that I reference now because that's special, because of how enjoyable and entertaining it was, had a big impact in my life. Like, just the fact that he was up there talking that stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like, bro, I don't really know if, like, I'm built for this shit for real, but we on here for real. Like, I'm doing it. And that's gotta be, you know what I mean? That's probably, but it's like, what do you do with it? And it's like, if you're not doing anything. But I also saw something, or I think it was a creator that I like a new smaller YouTuber. I don't know if he's new, but he like is trying again. And he was saying the type of content you make informs the type of people who will engage with that content, essentially. Like, right, if I make gaming content, I'm gonna get gamers, or, you know what I mean? But depends on the game, right? If I do like fucking competitive first-person shooters, then I'm gonna get a competitive first-person shooter like audience, right? If I make like theoretical philosophy videos or whatever, then that'd be like, I'm gonna get a bunch of ponder-ass thinking niggas who watch my content or whatever, right? Or if I do music content, right, I'll get fans of type of a music, you know what I'm saying? If you're just talking about, like, you know, reaching a general like consumer base, but it's also like, what else is that shared connection? Because usually it's some shared like connectedness, like you connect with even in person and online, you connect with people who are like similar to you on some way, right? Like, if you make sports content, nigga, you're gonna get sports fans on there, sports enthusiasts, athletes, you know what I mean? Niggas who would engage with that content for whatever reason. And most people, I mean, I think of people engage on content in a like large spectrum, right? So like, a nigga might engage with the same nigga who engages with that sports content might engage with that first-person shooter content too, right? It's not to say those are like mutually exclusive, but it's also like, okay, so then as the producer of said content, right, you're informed by it. And I think that's kind of a funny thing with like nerds now and comic book culture. So this is gonna be like a delineation, words, nigga, English, but like niggas typically. Comic book stuff is like nerd shit, right? Like comic book nerd shit. But it's such a wide, and maybe it's the age that it's like targeted towards, right? Like, it's targeted towards like younger adults, You know what I mean? Like on some shonen shit, and then also targeted towards like, you know, general. And I think most media that's for kids, like kids don't have the bread usually to just go out and do the thing. So it's like some shit that some parents would have to get something out of, or like old people too. So it kind of has to have decent themes that, like, you know, older people could connect with somewhat. So it's like, you know, I get on here, I'm vibing, I'm playing Rivals, I think. But like, what the fuck is, you know, like, who the fuck would I watch this shit? You know what I mean? And if I would watch this shit, would people like me watch shit like this? Just on like a, and if they would, why would they? You know what I mean? It's really hard though, cause like thinking so difficult or thinking so deeply about shit is just like, bro, like some niggas don't think that deeply or just don't want to. It's like, bro, I got all this other shit I got going on, my nigga. Like, why am I? This is my break from thinking that deep. They probably had to think so deeply about how they're living their life, or like, nigga, what am I gonna eat? How am I gonna do this? You know what I mean? And it's like, now this nigga telling me on some other shit. Like when I still kind of don't. Like I watch the news, but like I try not to consume too much of it, not to just remain uninformed, but just cause like, bro, that shit can be depressing. You know what I mean? So even like the local news would tell you all the crazy shit that's going on. And it's like, good, okay, and let me know what's going on so I'm informed. But, you know, too much of that, and it's just like, damn, my nigga, shit is terrible. And then it'll be like, 3 puppies were saved from a lake, and you know what I mean? They try to balance it out, but like, you gotta report on the negative, because that's what people want to know. They, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, that not only helps them protect themselves and be informed of the danger, which is kind of what you want to be informed of, so you can take measures to protect yourself from it, but also just because, like, you know what I mean, it's more interesting. I don't want to just be negative on here. That would just be from one person, you know what I'm saying? But nigga, I don't know, bro. It's like, fuck, bro. I don't know, bro. It's like, damn, twin, just vibe, twin. You know what I mean, bro? Like, I know what I mean, bro. But like, bro, it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy, bro. It's just fucking crazy, bro. And like, this world is crazy. So like, it makes sense, but it's like, damn, twin, you're not doing too well of a job of just vibing, twin. You're kind of tweaking the fuck out, twin. Like, relax a little, twin. You know, it's me. I'm twin. But you know, I don't know. It's content is so weird, bro. And calling it just content is so weird too, because it's like, directed content is so much more, right? You kind of know what you're getting. If you go and you watch it, you know, you watch a game, my nigga, if you're watching basketball, you know niggas is gonna be hooping. If you're watching an action movie, you know niggas is gonna be boxing. So you kind of know what to expect in that way. It's like, okay, this is what I'm getting from this. With like streaming and just, you know, things that are just content, you kind of don't, I mean, you kind of know what you're gonna get, but you can't be too sure always, because it's like, nigga, you just might not get that. You might get some shit that's completely different, just due to the nature of, you know, what's it called? The unpredictability of live content. Cause like, you know, it's like more like like being like a variety stream. You know what I'm saying? If someone was like a more directed, like, okay, I'm a streamer who plays action RPGs or whatever. But even now, I think the nature of streaming kind of changed. It's like I used to be on Twitch. When I used to be on Twitch, just like more so like chilling earlier, like a decade ago. It was mainly just to consume like I was just watching video game tournaments. So it's like, all right, let me watch people perform at like a high level at a game I enjoy either playing or being a spectator to. You know what I mean? One or the other, because I may not have the game, but it may just be cool to watch. I mean, I may not be good at the game, but it still may be fun to watch. But as things get like bigger, and I mean this is still kind of true with anything. It just becomes more about like the personality, right? It's more like, okay, do I like the person streaming, and if so, I'll probably just watch whatever that nigga does, because it's like I enjoy this streamer, right? He's just a streamer. That's the medium he does, but whatever he actually streams is irrelevant to me. He a fan type shit, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean? So, no, I was never like a fan. I didn't have like a favorite, like, oh, this is my, maybe in tournaments, right? If I was watching a tournament, it'd be like, okay, this is my favorite type of player due to their play style or the character they play. And, you know, somewhat you would follow the personality because of that. So it wasn't ever too different, right? But it's less now, I think. Not just like it's not gaming or because it's gaming content and shit, but just also because it's like it's just different, bro. I think IRL streamers and like, you know, I see a lot of people still playing games on Twitch for sure, but the general population may not be into that, and you shouldn't want to reach just the general. You know what I mean? Do what you do, but you know, I would just watch for the tournament, right? Like, it was cool if I was watching the tournament because certain, you know, high level competitors were gonna be there, and then I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, I know these people or these teams, you know what I mean? These orgs are super, but like, you know, I never really was trying to develop like a big, like be like a big ass fan of this specific org or the specific, you know, player. Like I think I would enjoy watching them just do the play style. And it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, it's just, I enjoy watching the streamer due to their streaming style. You know what I mean? So as much as I see there's like a bit of a difference, it's like, it's not that different. So it's kind of makes me think to myself too, like, why even, like, just vibe, twin? Because if you be doing it, those who rock or vibe with it will come and vibe and rock with it, you know what I mean? Kind of no matter what you do. And so the idea of making content, and not even expecting, but like, you know, realizing that a certain viewer base would be there, it's like, it might not even be the case. It's just, they just be feeling you, they just rock with you, and if they rock with you and your personality, then they come and they'll just, you know, remain regardless for what you do. Not everybody, obviously, right? Because some people, you know, you might have started as like a, I don't know, if you were a GTA RP streamer or some shit, or like a 2K streamer, and then you're like, all right, I can't just, like even a YouTuber or whatever, right? Just content creator, I should say. It's like, you know, they may still rock with you, even if you don't do that. Or like if you were a sketch comedy person, right? And then you switch over to, you know, bigger production things, they might rock with you on that too, you know what I mean? Whether like, you know, like a Drewski kind of deal, or like, you know, even like a, what is that nigga's name? Timothy De La Ghetto back in the day type shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, and even, you know, even then, if you're a streamer and you're a good personality and they rock with you, you could do all those things. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. But you do all those things and they'll just rock with you. But like, inevitably, some people might leave just because it's like, that's not really their cup of tea. Which is like, you know, that's totally fine. Not everything is for everyone. And expecting it to be or to reach everyone is a easy way to reach nobody. But it's I don't know. It's just easy to get kind of stuck in a rabbit hole and then be like, oh, everything is just the same, because it like low key it just fucking is. But there's nuance there, so not recognizing some of the nuance there is like expecting all general information to apply for everyone and to everybody, when it's like we know for a fact specialized, content or specialized information usually goes a lot further for the individual person, right? That's why when you go to a doctor, they tell you the general things that'll help, but if you have like a specific problem, these niggas help you with the specific thing that you got going on. You get a broken leg, they're not just gonna be like, all right, make sure you exercise, take these vitamins, like da da da. They go say that and some other shit, you know what I mean? And that's the and some other shit that maybe is what I'm focusing on too hard, and it's probably a lot of my problem. But and some other shit is there, I would imagine, for specific things. But I think for the general population, most general things should hypothetically work. Even if they don't, then there's just like slight alterations for that. But and that's only because we're not so different, than we are similar. But even then, some of us are pretty different, you know what I mean? Or if not pretty different, aren't like how do we access the people who are more similar? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to just put yourself in like an echo chamber of only people who are like you or agree with you and, you know what I mean, are exactly like you, or like everything, right? Because then I think the variety or difference is like kind of the spice of life, right? If things were all the same for everyone all the time, no one would have anything to tell anyone. It would just be like, how'd you live? Nigga, I was doing the same shit you was doing, bro. Like, why you even asking me this question? In fact, you could probably say exactly what I was doing, word for word, bar for bar, because it was the same shit. You know what I mean? It's like having differences is what makes life interesting. So, there are differences, minute as they might be, that make life interesting. And those differences are for sure small but like polarizing. I like to think of like the Kendrick and Drake beef as a big like as a kind of like a way to talk about what it kind of is. Like, both of them niggas is rappers, bro. Both of them niggas is, you know what I mean, at some point engaging in some level of like, their own version of toxic masculinity, right? Kendrick was like, oh, I had a lust addiction, all that, I cheated on my wife. Drake's like, I was fucking other niggas' bitches and getting all these women and they was breaking my heart and all this. And it's fuck them because I'm up now and all these niggas hate me. And Kendrick is like, fuck it, I'm the greatest. And you know what I mean? It's like, even that just like on some ego. Like, they're not too different. They're more similar than they are, but there's a minor difference in it, right? It's just that, and it's different for everyone. Might think that difference is different. That what is different between them is different, right? But in my opinion, then, what makes them different is just the vulnerability and self-reflection not to engage further with some of the worst parts of themselves, right? It seems like Kendrick dropped that album, missed him around the big steppers, and then, I don't think we've gotten like a Drake album that kind of is that deep of a self-exploration. Not to say that he hasn't even done exploration of himself within songs, and throughout albums. I think Scorpion kind of had some of that a little bit, you know what I mean? And, but I think it's just like, at some point is rap just to sit around and to be vulnerable and admit, like, is that even the place to do it, or is it more like that's therapy? And you know, Kendrick was just a nigga who shared a part of his therapy, you know, progress in an album, and it's like you don't want to do that because I mean that inherently makes you a lot more vulnerable, right? It makes you a lot less like a star and a lot more just like a regular fucking person who goes through things but who just has a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, where do we see it? And I think Drake is more of a fucking star. Like, Drake is and like probably for his image as a star, like a huge, as a businessman, you know what I mean? As a, what does that nigga say? Hove. Where he's like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. It's kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? Probably bad PR for your business, my nigga, to just be like, yeah, man, I was cheating on these wives and fuck. But if it's a good thing for your business, if your image is just to be like a star, larger than life, super macho, I'm that nigga kind of guy, braggadocious, kind of like how rap, you know, already does. Like, I don't know, I think Drake does the rap shit perfect. He does the rap shit like super perfect, right? Like, if rap is about talking about how much whips you got, how much guns you got, how much bitches you can smash, bro, how much you can flex, even if people don't believe him, that nigga kind of does it the best, like, generally speaking, you know what I mean? He probably has the means and access to do it better than any of your favorite. It's just, all right, is it about who can rap the best? Like, who can, you know, who's the best technical rapper? And even then, it's like, it's probably not about that for a lot of people. It's just, who do you connect with more? And like, you know, can you connect with a nigga who's super rich like that and is talking about fucking everyone's bitches and all that? Like, maybe. But it's probably not. You're probably not able to connect with it if you're just like a general person. You know what I mean? You'll probably more connect with it if you're a highly successful individual. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, he's relatable in the way where he talks about relationships and shit like that, and you know how he engages with, you know, just the human part of, you know, I was talking to people who I trusted and they you know, they didn't have my best interest and shit like that, like, right? Everybody's probably gone through that to some extent. But then it's like, you know, can everyone be super rich and overcome it, or just be like, man, fuck them all, I'm a brand, I'm still that nigga though, and like low-key really like mean that shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, you supposed to feel that way, 100% you're supposed to feel that way, but will everybody like be able to be that way? You know what I mean? And if there aren't, that's not Drake's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never say that's that nigga's fault, because it ain't, personally. But like, it's just like, who's more relatable to you? Like, what do you relate to? And if not even what you relate to, for a lot of people, where they're at is may not what they want to relate to, but where do they aspire to be? Drake being a huge ass star is something that's aspirational to be. You know what I'm saying? So even if you hate where the fuck you are now and who you are now, if Drake is like, I'm that nigga, man, they all hated me, and you're like, man, they all hated me, I am that nigga now, even though you're not, you might feel empowered by the shit he's saying, because it's like, nah, man, I am that nigga now. Even if you're not, right? Because you got to believe that to get there, essentially, is what we would preach. But what do we do, like, for real? Because not everyone could be the CEO, right? Like, that's a position for one nigga. Mad niggas can be, you know, just like the employees, you know what I mean? Or like, I would have to think of a specific role, but you know what I'm saying? Like, mad niggas could be just like entry-level positions. That's accessible, but not everyone could be the CEO. So it's like, all right, cool. How do we? But everyone's gonna strive to be that, because that's a thing worth striving for, right? Like, it's worth striving. Give me that. Oh shit. It's worth striving to do that, because like, otherwise, what are you striving for, right? You're striving to just be a nigga at the bottom. Like, that's not that's crazy, right? Like, we would feel like, bro, they're selling themselves short. They're not living up to their potential, or whatever we would say, right? So like, it's kind of a fucked up thing to be like, oh, know your place type shit, because that's not the point in it, right? It's not the point in it, for me at least. It's just to think about, and we won, nigga, fuck yeah, W's all around, nigga, let's go. But like, to think about like what you gotta do. Like, if everyone went DPS on this team, bro, we would have fucking lost, right? But the best nigga on our team, as far as final elims, was this nigga. This nigga went DPS, but this nigga didn't even get MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that crazy? You got 14. No. This nigga got more. Okay. This nigga, and he went Ultron. He had the most damage. You feel me? But like, think about it. This nigga blocked Boar, right? This nigga's accuracy, we'll say with Ultron, right? Because it probably swaps per character. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even here, we had to block this much damage. You know what I'm saying? He could do this much because we blocked, and because there were heals for. Damn, Luna went freaking crazy, as much as like Luna did heals, and you know what I mean, and our cloak did too. Or so it's like, bro, like, that enabled this nigga to be the star, to be MVP. But he had the most deaths on the teams too. You know what I mean? They had to be pushed far enough to be able to do all this and carry the team. And even then, he knew, he was like, all right, boom. I can't just do it as damage. I gotta play a healer. Which is like, Ultron's like a damage dealing ass healer, but still, you know what I mean? He can focus on dealing damage while also providing health too. So that's kind of what made it work. You know, at least I think, right? So like, what the fuck do we do? Because if two niggas, let's say, going back to Drake Kendrick, two niggas are both like, nah, bro, I'm finna be MVP. I'm finna be point guard. It's like, and their teams are their teams, right? Their teams aren't playing together. Then it's competition, which makes them feel like I'm better than you and you. But in the competition between the two, you could say Kendrick wins. But like, as a competition in the music game, like, Drake is objectively just doing better, like, musically. You know what I'm saying? Like, his music streams more, bro. Had more number ones, bro. Maybe it's like Kendrick had more grams, but it's just what you're using, like, to measure it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, bro, like, I don't know what we're using to measure who's the best, right? The criteria changes all the time. But like, man, my nigga, like, I try to think about this shit, and then it's just like, why? Right? Isn't it just, who did I like more? Isn't that the only shit that mattered? Who did I relate to more? Right? Cause listen, Drake was my favorite rapper at some point, way back in the day. Like, Drake definitely was my favorite rapper. I can say so confidently. That nigga came out, and I was a big Wayne fan, and then he dropped a nigga that was, he had a free, I heard Ransom, bro. I heard Ransom for the first time by Drake and Lil Wayne, and I was like, this is hard as fuck. And then I listened to more of Drake stuff, and I was like, this nigga is hard as fuck, but he's also talking about some real ass shit. And so I was a fucking fan of that nigga, bro. But then I heard Kendrick Lamar on what was the song? I think it was CDC by Dom Kennedy, because I was already listening to Dom Kennedy at the time. And so it was like,
Hero or villain, I'm not judging.
damn, this nigga is hard as fuck. Nah, that's where I heard Casey Veggies. What song was it then? Where did I hear this nigga? Who the fuck? Where did I hear this nigga? Okay, well, I was on my West Coast rabbit hole, bro. And I think I was just listening to... Dude, what the fuck? He's not... Is he on the remix? Nah, bro, I'm tweaking, bro. Where the hell did I hear this nigga, bro?
30 seconds before
That's not even the first time I heard this nigga, bro. I don't even remember the first time I heard Kendrick Lamar. See, that's crazy. I can definitely tell you the first song I heard by Drake, or with Drake on it. But then I fuck with Kendrick. I fuck with Kendrick more. You know what I'm saying?
The battle starts in 5,
But like, bro, like,
3, 2,
regardless of that, it's like, what connected with me more musically? You know what I mean? I like, bro, I don't know. I like to think that I fucked with Kendrick Lamar shit, baby, because of the way I was living. Like, not like on some shit where I was and in any way involved in any of the shit he was doing. But like, you know, he talked about just being, I mean, Good Kid, Man City, right? Like, he talked about just kind of not being like the niggas around him who were doing all this. Like, usually I'm chilling, bro. I'm just chilling. You know, don't kill my vibe type shit. Like, I'm not. Oh shit. Come on, get me out of here. Ah! Alright. Fuck. But like, bro, like, okay, so on some Kendrick shit, right? I think just sonically, I liked his raps more. What the fuck do you like more about Kendrick than Drake? You know what I mean? I think I listened to a lot more of his music, and he did, you know, he was kind of more on some like, he was way more on some black empowerment shit than Drake ever had been. You know what I'm saying? But that makes sense, because Drake has a mixed heritage, so it's like, you know, he probably has to deal with not being black enough or whatever with black people, as much as he has to deal with, you know, knowing that he's just a black man as well. And that, like, you know, nigga, it's kind of like the one drop rule too. Like, he's for sure a nigga. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, look at you. Even phenotypically, you just look like a nigga, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you look like a light-skinned Negro, high yellow Negro type shit on some Uncle Ruckus shit. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think about, like, why does that matter? Does it matter because I look like how I look like? And as different as that is from someone like Kendrick, it's closer to that than Drake. You know what I mean? Because, like, Drake for sure was my favorite rapper, and it was never about what he looked like when he was. So I don't think that's it. But it's like, bro, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, what's the determining factor on whether or not, you know, you enjoy what an artist is making or not? Is it relatability? And it's a lot of things, right? So I think I'm kind of reducing it to try to understand it rather than to oh shit. rather than to like reduce it to like the it's either A or B, right? It's never that. It's like it's A and B and some third letter. But it's just, bro, it's just a trip, bro. It's just a trip because it's like at some point, what the fuck are we even talking about, right? Alright. Did the music hit or not? And what did it hit? Did it hit your soul? Did it hit your eardrums? Did it hit your spirit? Right. What part of the monkey brain did that shit activate? Because it could just be that simple, right? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be anything complex. I think that's why Drake can say, or not Drake, Kendrick can say, keep making me dance, wave my hands, and there won't be no threat. Cause he could be like, nah, you make good like pop music. You know what I mean? Most Def could be like, his music is conducive to shopping. And it's like, why is that a bad thing? You gotta have bread to listen to his music. Broke niggas ain't shopping. You know what I mean? Like, what do we say? What do we say? Is he not part of the struggle? And so that's why he's not relatable, and that's why he's not an artist in which, you know, the general population can find some sort of connection to after some point. Or is it just like, nah, we're tripping, you know? And he makes that hard shit, or niggas is just struggling, so can't you make music for niggas in the struggle or type shit? Like, is that it? And if he does, how's that better? He's not even, is he just because he's showing you what it could be to not struggle? You know? Cause Drake could do that too. He's just showing you through his through his actions by not struggling. It's like, yeah, nigga, look how well I'm doing. Be like me. I don't know. It's a trip to me. It's a trip to me. To go back to kind of the shit I was saying earlier. You know, relatability. Cause even then, is Drake a better performing artist than Kendrick? Like, does he perform art better than Kendrick performs art? Right. Cause he fucking might low key, like he low key might. He might have a better presentation of art. Just in the way that it's like, that shit look cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? That shit look cool. He makes being a rapper look cool. Kendrick kind of makes being a rapper look difficult or seem difficult. And it's like, that's cool too, you know? That's cool because of him, you know, actually then being like it's more, I guess it's like watching a professional do it. Drake is a good technical rapper too though, so he's not even like, you know, some of these criteria they both hit. I just think if in terms of a battle, it was never just gonna be about it was never just gonna be about like which artist was more suited to make music that is cool between the two, and it wasn't ever just gonna be about pure technical rap ability. it was always about who can make the other one look worse. That's kind of a shitty thing, right? It's why, you know, winning the way he wins is, you know, impressive. But a song like Meet the Grams can kind of be like, this is disturbing. You know what I mean? Like, he's just making this nigga look terrible, bro. Like, he's also making himself look terrible by going that far. But it's like, man. So I don't know. I try to think about that only to inform the direction and the way in which someone were to create art. Because then, you know, if Drake is, for the longest point, been more commercially successful than Kendrick Lamar, and he even took that nigga on his first tour type shit, then it's like, okay, that means that nigga was already more commercially successful than this nigga, and that nigga tried to be like him, or you know what I mean, there was someone in a similar field, and then that nigga overtook him through general appeal. And then it was just like, and then fuck this guy. And it's like, damn, bro, bite the hand that feeds you, bro. Like, what the hell? That nigga was helping you. But it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I really just find it difficult to, like, to really look at either side and be like, they're wrong, or they're, you know what I'm saying? I could at least understand why Drake felt like, because of how big he was, how much notoriety he has, what he's accomplished, he feels like he wanted to, like, he could win the battle, because I don't think he gets into a battle like that unless he thinks he can win it, right? But he also is, it's also like, my nigga, that's stupid, bro. You have way more to lose then. You know what I mean? Ducking the squabble and losing is probably better. I mean, it maybe for rap it looks worse, but like as a PR thing, bro, it probably looks way better to just duck the squabble and then drop What Did I Miss. That would have been, I think that would have been so fucking hard, bro. If he ducked the squabble and then dropped What Did I Miss, all these niggas was talking shit to themselves. If it was just that nigga yelling at the wall and then he just came back like, what were these niggas saying, bro? I'm sorry, I was too busy being rich and successful. That's so much harder. That would have been so much harder, bro, for him. I think for his angle. But then dropping that after kind of being like, you know, I guess quote unquote losing, and then doing like the lawsuit and all that is just, it gives people another thing to make fun of him for, which is kind of what the battle like is. Like, they provoked a response from him because it's like, we want to see these niggas go at it for our own entertainment. But like, and you know, in some way it's kind of like that's good for him too, right? Like, me engaging in this could have been, or him engaging in it, if I'm Drake, right? I'm not Drake, but if I was Drake, me engaging with this could be good for because then, you know, not only do I take down my highest, you know, not even my highest competitor, but like, you know, what people would think is my biggest competition. You know, I would also just big up myself then. Now it would be undisputed, you know? It's like, if you duck the fade, you was scared you was going to lose. So I think J.Cole won the all that to say about art and all that, J.Cole won the no, I'm fucking playing. But I think J.Cole did a thing that was super like super respectable and human. That nigga stopped. He dissed the nigga back. He got on first person shooter because he doesn't like picking no sides. He dissed the nigga back who was like, nigga, it's just big me, because obviously if I'm part of the contender for the big three, then I gotta kind of stand up. You know what I'm saying? I gotta stand up and show that, hold my nuts, let these niggas know hey man, it's not just them. But then realizing that, like, the fuck are we fighting for? Like,
Yo, I think somebody should go healer.
you know what I mean? Like,
I got locked down, bro.
what the fuck are we fighting for?
I can't heal.
Yeah, it totally works.
Can't is crazy. You could just say won't, bro. I think that's more accurate.
I'm telling you, I could
Shut
be a
up.
quick guy, I'd be shitty at it in comp because I'd not be able to do the things I can do in other characters.
Alright, let's log in, guys.
30
We just
seconds
believe
before
hard
you
enough.
attack. Get
Nothing
ready.
can stop us.
Belief is the greatest power that ever exists, bro. You're right.
Yo, your
True,
mic's on.
true. Plus, I'm on a hot wind.
Yo, your mic's on. Yo, your mic's on.
You know what? I'm about to be on.
Yo, your mic's on.
We have beaten death before on our own. It came at a cost.
The battle
Oh,
starts
guys,
in
I
5,
just figured out my link to them.
Yo,
Sorry
your
about
mic's on.
that.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area.
Bro, you're
your mic's on.
weird.
Strange. even.
Yo, your mic's on.
He's just a soundbite, bro. I don't think he's a person.
Yo, your mic's on.
You better be Peter Quill himself, brother.
Yo, your mic's on.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
Holy fuck! Eddie's had like to fight someone for arms abuse.
Okay. What the fuck happened? I got distracted by these niggas. Not playing healer. Oh my gosh. Alright, nah, J.Cole. J.Cole won the beef. Because what he did was responded to the nigga, dropped an album, right? Dropped an album, which is already good because he wasn't dropping just songs. Whether he had them all, I feel like he dropped them rather quickly. You know what I mean? I think he's the type of artist who could probably put out songs pretty quickly just because, like, he can produce his own shit too. You know what I mean?
Daddy has all.
And, oh, see, he's that kind of a nigga.
Yo, your mic's on. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, I exploded. Oh my goodness, dog.
I am ready to put up
My
3,
ult.
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
They also don't have Luna or Control.
But yeah, yeah, that nigga won, cause like, bro, like, that nigga dropped an album, right? Realized he was. I might have said this already, so whatever. But he dropped the album, dropped an album.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Excuse me. Wrote the diss track, and it wasn't as hard as. I mean, it was hard. I think it was okay, right? But essentially, he was just doing the thing of like, that nigga talk shit about me, so I'm gonna talk shit back, which is like always like you might kind of just be grasping for straws when you do that, because you're not really saying things you might believe. You're just saying things to
I am ready to
hurt
put
the
on a
nigga.
show.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just responding, which is, oh, all right, cool. I'm defending myself, so I might just say something that.
It's fighting time!
You know, at some point you might just need to say something to what's the word? Fucking A, dude. Alright, jokes aside, that nigga ain't win the beef, but like, I think he did the most human thing, which was like, damn, bro, that was some whack shit I just did there. Even if it's just for me to like prove that I'm the best. Basically, all I did was basically just talk shit about a homie. You feel me? Because y'all wanted me to. Not even because I thought I should, or because this nigga said some shit that I really was like, you know what, fuck that nigga. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was just like, man, all I did for real was just talk shit about someone who I may consider a friend. And it's like, that's cool that he could recognize that. And like, I think January 28th kind of talks about it too. He said the bigger we get, the more our egos collide. It's just physics. He seems like he understood that. Like he understood the more they get people, you know, riding their dicks and saying that they're the best and telling them this and that and damn big bro, you sold 13 million or you went on tour, had this, or whatever the shit is, right? Hyperbole or not, like that bigs their head up and all that shit, and it just makes them feel kind of like they're invincible or untouchable, right? And so like a nigga trying or testing your gangster and your craft is like, how dare he, you know what I mean? How dare he talk about my craft that way? Doesn't he know who I am? You know who my dad is? But like, saying shit like that, right? And being able to be like, okay, I'm just an artist. I'm just an artist who's trying to, you know, connect with people, and I hope I meet the most people, or connect with the most people through, you know, my artistry. And since rap is like a, you know, it's a technical sport, obviously comparisons are gonna exist, and hopefully they compare me to someone who I like and who's good, rather than compare me to some like corny nigga who I'm nothing like. You know what I'm saying? So even in the running of being compared to like the Drakes and the Kendricks, the Mars and shit, it's probably an honor, because it's like, damn, bro, like I'm that good. You know what I mean? Like I'm so good that I'm like these niggas who people, I personally may enjoy their own music or enjoy their music, but not only that, they're there are also people who, you know, are highly successful in the field that I'm doing, right? It's like you'd rather be compared to like the LeBrons and the Kobe's and the Jordans and the Wilts and the freaking everyone who's up there, bro, depending on where or what criteria you're trying to measure. You know what I mean? So like, you know, he's probably grateful for that, but in the same way, it's like,
I actually don't speak English.
I want to be better than these niggas too, right? Hello. Edo, hello.
Estoy bien.
Yo, your mic's on. What song is that? Fire Squad? Yeah, Fire Squad. Where he talks about like, there is no king. Who's the king? Who's the king? Like that part of the song. End of the song in Fire Squad. Where he starts talking about how like there isn't, you know what I mean? I'm done. Ain't no king of rap, nigga. He becomes the king of rap only to tell these niggas you ain't no kings. There is no kings. No more kings, nigga. Looking through rings, nigga, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Right? But then that nigga still was like, you know what I mean? He's human. He had to respond. Niggas was telling him, yo, you gotta respond. This nigga, you gonna let this nigga say that? You did the Future. He making you look crazy. He testing your gangster at this point. Or whatever, right? I don't know, man. A lot of people probably thought that nigga, or I seen a lot of discourse saying that nigga was like weak or something, or like he was lame for saying that shit and like going back on it. But it's like, bro, that's the realest thing a nigga could do. You know what I mean? To be like, look, bro, I did some lame shit. My bad. I still think his music is fire, bro. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm just like, nah, that nigga a bitch, cause he called me a bitch. You know what I mean? It's like, he called me a bitch. That's his problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's a swell guy. like, sometimes you gotta get back, but it's like, bro, it wasn't even, it was more just this nigga, like, bro, it would have just made this nigga look crazy, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, not even just to do that, not even just to be like, yeah, this nigga is crazy, but just to be like, bro, like, he's arguing with himself saying he's the best, bro. I could be like, I'm the fucking king of the world, but I'm not the king of the world, bro. If I start responding to niggas like that, you might think that for real, he's the king of the world. Like, they viewed him as actual competition. They saw that nigga, right? And so that's respectable that they even acknowledged that he was competition and that he was someone who is like, you know, if someone's just like, I'm the best, it's like, nah, prove that nigga wrong. That's just a matter of opinion. You know what I mean? And that nigga can't have his opinion. He could think he's the best. In fact, he's supposed to think he's the best. Because if he thought he wasn't shit, and people were comparing me to this nigga who does well in the thing that he does, it would be kind of like an insult to me to be like, why am I like this nigga? Even if he is actually good, right? Even if he thinks that way, but he's doing well, it's like, you might be someone who has an ego or, you know, has a high self-esteem and is like, nigga, I don't want to be like these niggas. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's just like, all right, he realized that, all right, I'm coming from a place of like ego right now. My ego was telling me, nigga, say some shit back to this nigga, bro. How dare he basically try to say, nigga, you ain't this and you ain't that. You know what I mean? Cause like, nigga, you are, like, you know what I'm saying? You are the greatest rapper in your opinion. At least you should think that. And if you think that, my nigga, and that's why that's what helps you keep rapping. And you know, when people challenge you in rap, or when people say you should stop rapping, or, you know what I mean, when ultimately the haters, right, people who just don't rock with you, to make them not just, their words just demoralize you completely, you know, you have that self-confidence or whatever. But like, even then, it's like, you could tell he's not a hater. He respects y'all niggas musically. He just doesn't like that nigga as a person. Which might be fucking worse, which is why I think that's why Kendrick is funny as fuck. Because I don't think he has any problem with the artist Drake. I think he has so much problem with who the artist Drake has become for Aubrey Graham. And that's funny as fuck, and probably why he won. Because it's like, nah, no, bro, you make great music. I loved Hotline Bling. Still a bitch, though. Like, that's crazy, bro. He was separating the art from the artist. To say I hate the artist, the art fire though, like, it's fucking crazy, bro. After his therapy album, mind you, after the therapy album, this nigga went to therapy and came back and said, man, fuck this nigga, but he cool though, he makes some decent songs. That nigga's a trip, bro. But anyways, I don't know if these three in rap, and rap's not the only art form. You know, most music is collaborative, so even being like, oh, he had ghostwriters, or niggas had help dropping the albums or songs, or they had people doing, you know, research and getting dirt on these niggas and all this shit like that. Like, ultimately, I just think art is super fucking interesting. Like, art is super fucking interesting because what do you try to bring and say to people? It seems like Kendrick Lamar has been trying to say to black people, hey, bro, empower yourself, get better, help people around you, help yourself, and really introspect, because I'm introspecting too, and look at why things are in this way and why it might be that bad, right? And how being a part of this culture, right, is probably destroying you mentally and physically and financially, right? And why are we even attributing it to culture and just saying that that's what it is, when it's like we define the culture, right? Why not change the culture? And if we can't change the culture, which it kind of seemed like he wanted to do, then you separate yourself from the culture, because it's like, well, this is detrimental for me in the way that I live my life and the people around me, and I become detrimental to those, you know, who I may love and care about, or even strangers, right? And it seems like Drake more so just is embodying that shit through, you know, the imagery of it. And it may not even be that he's talking specifically in a way that makes it so he's kind of, you know, idolizing it, but in a way he kind of is, right? He kind of does want to lean more into this like tough guy thug persona, which, you know, rap can make you feel like, you know, if you need that confidence and that rap song makes you feel like yeah, nigga, I give me that energy, like, yeah, nigga, I'm that nigga, I'm the one, yeah, I'm not the two, then it's like, that's cool. But like, what does that do for not only you? If it does things to empower you, great, but then like, how does that have an impact on the people who listen to your music, right? And then also, like, should you care, right? I think J.Cole is a good example of someone who realizes it and then cares. So why I think Port Antonio is a good thing to have made for him, and where his stance was, because he kind of took it back what he said. He kind of addressed Kendrick, and then kind of let that nigga Drake just kind of flounder. It's not his fault, right? Drake was already going in there. I'm not privy to what they do in their private lives, so I don't know if he spoke to that nigga privately and was like, hey bro, hey, we did first person shooter, you know, I rock with you, you know what I'm saying? But I can't really side with you on this beef or anything. And like, even if I would side with you, then that would just place me at number 2. And you know, I'm trying to be the best rapper, right? Like, I can't be number 2. So hopefully you win, my nigga. Hopefully he wins. But whatever it is, just know it's not gonna be pretty, right? Or whatever you might say. He probably said nothing like that, but you know what I mean? It's whatever. Him making that song is just like, all right, cool, bro. What they're doing was lame, but I still got respect for that nigga, bro. He helped me a lot, and I can't not acknowledge that. I can't not acknowledge that. Even with Kendrick, he was like, man, I said a lot of shit, like, this nigga's music is whack as shit, but like, the album's in my like playlist, so I can't even really say that for real. Like, you know what I mean? Not even because it's false, but just because it's lame to say, when, you know what I mean? I feel this way. It's more so it's lame because I could just start at not liking this nigga's music because of what he did, or him as a person because of what he did to try to win the beef. Maybe he feels that way, but it's like, man, that nigga probably was just like, I did some lame shit. I probably wouldn't feel good being a lame ass nigga who is like, that nigga talk shit about me, now I'ma just talk shit about him, even when it's like, he was really just trying to affirm himself, and it wasn't something to be taken super personally. Like, he was affirming himself, and if I take it personally, that may show an insecurity through me that I have to say that, nigga, you think you better than me? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I think I'm supposed to think I'm better than everybody. Maybe I don't treat people like I'm better than them, but you're supposed to think that way if you're in a competitive field, because that can kind of give you the competitive edge to be and compete at a high level, right? If you think, oh man, they're just better than me, there's nothing we can do, I can't beat Drake, then that nigga loses the battle. He has to be like, nah, fuck that nigga, I'm better than that nigga to even be able to win a battle like that. He just took it way too fucking far, and it's like kind of where I'm at with it, right? Because it's like, can he say all that and then play dirty? But he's a hypocrite too. Like, I don't think Kendrick Lamar's ever been like, nigga, I'm this holier than thou person and all that. You know what I mean? Even with Black of the Berry, he says hypocrite. And I think he's not only just talking about himself, but like the culture as well. But for sure talking about himself in that way too, because he's realizing how hypocritical he is. And like, even you have to participate in the culture or community some way, in some level, to kind of reap the benefits of it. You know what I mean? So you know, lack of participation is just like, nigga, you isn't gonna get here at this point. Just, you know what I mean? So you know, he kind of like played the game, and it's like, man, I just think it just made me hate who I was as a person, or hate maybe not who I was, but what I was doing to the people around me. Maybe both, combination of both. And I think Lupe had a similar realization too in his career, and it's like maintaining your artistic integrity while also producing high quality art that has backing and like funding, or backing and funding, same shit, but has the backing. Backing is a way more encompassing, and like gets the recognition. I think is like a hard thing to do, which is why I think Drake's art had to change. It changed to reflect where he was as a person, or where he was in his position in life. But it also usually always reflected what would seem like a larger like corporate interest of like the entity of Drake, and not like the person who is Drake's. Like, you know what I mean? You do shit for the gram, you do shit for social media, you do shit for recognition. You may just end up with your ass out, you know what I'm saying? And just, they go see it. Maybe that's in itself worth it for you, because it's like, at least they looking, you know what I mean? But they looking at your ass because you acting the ass. How cool is that? All right. Anyways, we'll take a little break. Give me a second.
I don't buy much. I buy land, bro. Cologne.
So I don't know, man. Do people just? Is that just short form content? Has got to be like just the biggest fucking like hack, bro, in this content creation thing. Because I was talking about like artistry and like, you know, content creator, and kind of tying them together through like presentation of, you know,
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
the art, right? Because unfortunately, presentation of art kind of goes hand to hand with like presentation of artists. They're not one and the same. Because like, you can be a good artist but bad person, or like you can be a bad person but
Who am I gonna banish from this match?
or a bad artist but a good person. And it's like, those aren't necessarily, they're not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure a lot of niggas think Kanye West is a terrible person, but they be like, he made Graduation though. And so it's like, that's not really fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't Diddy, you know what I mean? Like, Diddy's a terrible person, and he's not really a good artist too. He's not really a good rapper. You know what I'm saying? And like, who's a bad artist but a good person? I don't know. I don't think I really listen to them niggas like that. I can't call them bad. There's something to like about them, right? I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Who's a bad artist but a good person? Me, nigga. So I'm
Could make all the
if
difference.
I'm that, right? Jokes aside, right? But if I'm that, and those things are, you know what I mean, things that we should be like think is true, then like what the heliante? Like, what the helion? Like, what we even talking about, bro? Anyways, I was doing a whole lot of yapping. I forget what I was saying, bro.
30 seconds
Oh,
before
about
your turn.
artist
Get ready.
and, you know, separating the art from the artist, or, you know what I mean, or whatever, blah, 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 presentation, content creation, all that kind of shit. I don't know, man, I just, like, shit, just vibe twin, you know what I mean? That seems to be the most, like, that's the best answer to, like,
4,
protect your peace type shit.
2,
You know what I mean? Just vibe twin.
capture the mission area. Got it?
But also, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on your sensibilities. It depends on your sensibilities. Because just vibe twin could, you know, you could feel like you're leaving out a lot of shit. But it's the simplest way, right? It is the simplest way to, I think, to exist. And simple is good.